Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hello and welcome to Last Man Standing. I'm Dan Hollifield, and if for any reason you'd like the depraved stuff we get up to here, please like, subscribe, and share. If not, I'm sorry, we tried. And if you missed Stupid O'Clock tonight, go back and watch the replay because it was pretty entertaining. Let me tell you, and as someone who was there, let me tell you, should have been there. There I was, and it wasn't band camp. I'll tell you that right now. Now, with you tonight, here for your entertainment, edification, and possibly witnesses to provide an alibi, we have Mike Jimmy, we've got Joe Bachman, we've got Rich, and we've got Dawn. So, you know, we're doing real good.
Uh-oh, it's busy.
So there I was. Margaret was wearing a good robe.
Hey, my grandmother's name was Margaret.
Hey,
was on.
You got to think
oh my
about
God, that was her
names.
favorite channel.
And I thought,
or her favorite show.
You know.
Oh God, don't, no.
It's a Jeff Foxworthy joke.
I know, but I do not want to hear about Margaret watching the Wheel of Fortune in her good robe.
Margaret was vacuuming, getting under the couch in her good robe, and the husband's like, I can watch Wheel of Fortune anytime.
Mm-hmm. Don't look, Ethel.
We're here every week, folks.
We're here twice a week, folks.
Not after tonight. I might never come back.
You have been warned. We show up whether anybody's watching or not.
Just remember, there might have been other reasons as to why your grandmother had the furniture covered in plastic. Oh.
The bad part is she didn't. But there's certain Davenport.
There's certain things. Davenport. What about the Joneses?
No, that's what she called it. It was the Devonport.
Yeah, I understand that reference. Lord, so many names for furniture, so many uses for furniture. Ah, now that we're off on a blue note,
Yeah, I didn't do it. That was him. I
yeah,
can't point.
there is a camera reversal thing with this.
It's Dan's fault for saying, so there I was.
So how are you doing, Mike Jimmy? I haven't talked to you since.
I'm doing all right.
Are
Haven't
you
done it in a while.
sufficiently recovered from the 24-hour comic session?
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine, honestly.
Y'all is
That
from.
was
I wasn't there. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
it's cool.
it was a work night. Y'all made it 20 hours in, and then had to do a part 2.
Yeah,
So
we got 12. We did the 12 hours because YouTube doesn't record for longer than 12.
mhm.
Then we switched to the second stream, and I managed to last for 8 hours after that. And then my body was like, no.
Yeah, I turned around to start cleaning up the office a little bit more, and then I turned back around and I'm like, what's Nita and Daphne doing on this screen?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Thought I'd
but-
turn the autoplay off.
I got the entire comic sketched out, except for the cover, and I inked up to page 9 during the 20 hours. But yeah, Luce and I fought a good fight. I mean, we got far, and I'm very proud of her of all the things that she's done. Like this was her first comic, so
Hey.
I'm super proud.
I'm
Oh,
a
she
random
is so
stranger,
sweet.
but I am proud of both of you guys too. I mean, that was
Really?
a Herculean effort, and
to go on.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything that goes on more than a couple of hours is one of those things where you go, "Hey, better man than I am."
Well, to go on with it after losing half the people. So you were trying to take on double the work. And even if you were doing that, you had the 4 people, you would have had 3 other people bouncing off of, which,
Yeah.
after 24 hours, that's a long time to be with one person and not,
Yeah.
as much as you love each other,
Cabin
it's
fever does exist.
Eventually, you're gonna run to the wit's end. That's true. And
So-
yeah, no, it was.
I'm sorry, my wit has a
Intense.
very short leash, so
your wit is
Oh.
something else. We'll just say it that way.
Okay, let me grab some paper
green
for
room
you guys.
tomorrow.
Misty hasn't
Let's
found
just
a way
say
to lose
that.
my wit yet.
Mm.
You what, Rich?
I said Misty hasn't found a way to leash my wit yet.
You guys want to take a look at it?
Sure.
Sure.
Please?
But Joe, he popped up.
Pretty, please?
Yeah, of course. So they're actually in opposite order. So we're going down from page number 20, which is how far I got. So this is all with a single brush pen.
Hey, Dan, why don't we bring up Mike Jimmy?
That's a good idea. Thank you.
So this is the ancient city that Fru is going to be looking at. Going through. Oh, that's the wrong
Not
one.
you.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, so there is a character. There you go. Every person on the bottom, if you click the character square on the left, then they show you off. There we go. That's an ancient city.
Wow.
And they're not in order. They're kind of jumbled together because it just kept going and going and going. Because I took a little bit of a liberty and took a little more time with every page afterwards. And there's the hieroglyphs telling Fru that she is able to fix herself with the little spot on her head. It is absolutely adorable. Huge shout out to Donna for helping Luce with the dialogue.
Mhm.
Well, as far as I understand, Aunt Donna only did basically fixing the English version.
By the way, pretty much all of you guys are actually in this text.
In that text, or am I on the other one too?
You're all through the book. So, yeah. And
So yet another alphabet that I will end up memorizing just because I have that kind of addiction.
Don't ask me why I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up, like happy tears.
aw. But yeah, you guys have been eternalized. There we go.
Mhm.
So, for the people who actually watched along, yeah, these were just blocks that I put down, and everything, detail wise, is just me doing inks.
Yes, you actually crossed something off of my bucket list for me, Mike Jimmy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that is my name appearing somewhere in a comic. I don't care if it's encoded text. It's
So,
still in there.
yeah, a lot of these will have names, on the slabs that are milestones, and yeah.
Is it bad that I'm looking at a lot of these and going, that would look great as a wood burning?
Hey,
Well, if you want to scan, feel free.
It would look great as a coloring book.
Mhm.
Yeah,
well, that's basically what Mike Jimmy is doing.
essentially,
But he
yeah.
gets to
Especially
color it.
considering that I'm doing.
But with the exception is he's the one having to draw the coloring book to start with and then do the coloring.
Don't get me started on that too.
Mm.
No, we're
Hey,
not.
I have watched your shows when I had the day off. So
Yeah, if this was a coloring book with another
that's-
add-on, I would definitely buy that.
I think I figured out where my name is on that one.
I think it's the top one here. Yeah,
I thought it was the second. I don't
the
remember,
top or
but I
second
think
one. Yeah,
because it was like the DA, and then at the end it's a D, the same little
yeah.
figure, and yeah. So I was like, oh, you know how excited I got when I saw it, figured that out. And then you wonder why I fangirled like with Michaela and all this stuff because you guys are just so cool.
Yeah, well, we love you too.
Not you. Stop it. Sorry, the little miss down here was doing something she shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
These
Nick
creatures
is
are
going to be
just
pissed
too
off
adorable.
when he sees where he's stuck into the fire. Okay, that sounds horrible.
Oh, I saw the dialogue for that one, and that one made me sad.
I know. It's
She gets yelled
so
at.
cute. It's so sad. Now we're getting into the first couple of pages. So you really see that I'm still figuring things out here. And this is where, it was in the 24-hour challenge. So it was taking less time figuring things out than I normally would. So I went into this without reference, like at all. And yeah, quick, dirty, unspecific. And yeah, the building blossom that puts together these kinds of creatures, and that is just sketch paper. Okay, so that was it. That's everything so far.
That looks
I've got
amazing, Mike.
4 more pages to do.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's been fun. And Luce is continuing the lettering, so she's actually learning that as she goes. So yeah, while I was what was I doing Wednesday? I had a call with a buddy of mine, and I just plopped her behind my PC and went, "Good luck, have fun." Once in a while, I heard a Mike, Help!
But it looked like she was having fun learning how to do it when you were
Yes.
teaching her too. And what was neat is you were teaching her, and I didn't know how a lot of this stuff works, so I was learning too. So that was really neat on my end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's in Clip Studio, which is the program I use. It's pretty easy. Um, but yeah, it's a learning curve. But
Yeah.
yeah, she picked it up quick, like legitimately. There's a couple of specifics that I didn't explain to her while she was doing it, literally the first time and being awake for 20 hours. But other than that, like no, she can do her thing. Like she didn't do anything wrong, and she was enjoying herself. So why not, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
that
do
was
realize
really neat to be part of.
you do realize I'm going to have to read the whole thing before I can compose any more music for it.
No, if you
At least one scene at a time.
well, I'm working on one of the stories in this book already. Don't get me started on any of the others yet. That's enough work as it is.
Hey, I'm a glutton for punishment, and I may not work fast, but I do good work.
That is true. And honestly,
If I may blow my own horn and trumpet in string section, but
Yeah, just shy
You
of
blow a string
2,500 on the
section.
Kickstarter. So, if anyone is watching on the replay or anything like that, the Kickstarter is still going on. Go donate.
yeah,
It is an awesome piece of work.
Yes.
Mike Jimmy is an awesome person to support.
Live on Core Volume 1 on Kickstarter. Thanks, Rich.
No problem.
For people who don't know, it's a world building series where in every issue or in every story you follow a new kind of creature on an alien world, therefore building it as we go. It's for all ages and worldwide fans, as you can hear, because I'm in the Netherlands and they're in the United States.
What do you think that worldwide notoriety already, Mike Jimmy?
Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of worldwide notoriety, Hallowcon is confirmed.
Nice.
Awesome. I was afraid to break it to the wife that I backed the Kickstarter. So the day of the 24-hour, I'm like, hey, we're backing this, blah, blah, blah. And, and then you or Luz held up the book and stuff like that and showed it off. She's like, oh, that's cool. I can't wait till we get that in our hands. So.
Hey, now you don't have to tell her that you backed the Kickstarter. She'll just be, you got a copy?
Well, I already told her before that, and then just after that is when either Mike or Luz picked it up and started showing off. She's like, oh, that looks gorgeous.
Like, that's gonna be art.
Well, it is gorgeous.
I love both Jaden Lanning's and Aristine's cover for it. Like, I'm still proud of everything we did.
And I hate the fact that right now I'm not financially in a spot where I can back it, but I try to share it as much as I can and know that if I could, I definitely would be.
Sharing is already
don't
going
feel
very
bad.
far.
Don't feel bad.
Well, here's the thing: pimping out your friends' works, even when you can't afford to buy them, is still good because you might be able to put that in front of somebody who does have the ability, or even multiple people who have the ability, who make up for your inability right there. And what you've done is you've spread the word. Signal boosting is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And it goes even further.
Pimpage just because of that. I couldn't afford to buy my friends' books, but I could afford to go, here's a free spot on the internet. Hey, come look at this shit. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and I can always send you a PDF, Dawn.
Don't, because I'll cry.
Look, I can always send you a PDF. That is no problem at all. And if you want to read the first 4 issues for free, they're on tapas.io.
Mike Jimmy, call it a review copy, a advanced reader's copy.
Oh, an arc.
Yep, and All you have to do, Dawn, is promise to leave a review when it goes live.
Or
You know.
repayment for boosting the signal.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, you guys are helping me out. Why wouldn't I help you guys out and appreciate what you guys do for me? There is literally nothing keeping me from being from giving myself an act of kindness. With
Really?
the names in there as well. Like, that was just fun. I had to fill up that space. I might as well do it with friends.
Well, it's like Nick drew those 2 pictures of my cats.
Yeah.
And I posted it the other day, and I've had people messaging me going, how do I get more information about this guy? Because those cats were hilarious.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love Buddy and Georgette, the picture he drew.
That's the thing about indirectly being part of the Rising Tide and meeting lots of other people that may not be part of the Rising Tide yet, but they are in spirit, whether they've actually got their own shows to be part of the network, which no longer exists. But bugger, Brian, we're going to keep the Rising Tide going, whether you want us to or not.
Well,
really, you share it out as to whatever audience you've got, and your friends get a little bit extra exposure, which is, you can die of that, but it's better. It's better than
wrong kind of exposure.
Yes, you can die of that too in the wrong place.
Ooh, yeah.
Overly Baptist wife, yes.
You're in a heap of trouble now, boy. I actually used that line in a story with a southern cop. I can't believe I did that. It was so stereotypical, but it was Louisiana, so or was it Mississippi? One of them two. They run together in my mind, just like the bad roads that go through them. Driving in the South.
On those roads.
Oh, driving in the South is one of those challenging things where you go, I hope I don't have to buy a new car because I want to drive this major interstate highway. And it's, I've seen better dirt roads. This one got pavement and trout farms in the middle of the pavement where they just stocked the potholes with fish rather than pave over them again. Welcome to the South. We have hush puppies, and we ain't talking about the 4-legged kind that go bark bark.
Yeah,
there was
you're
a
talking
place
about the
here
footwear,
that
right?
made. Yeah.
I know this is not a good endorsement for tourism of the South, but some of our roads are actually good.
Some of.
Depends on where you are and whether or not the road commissioner is up for re-election. You get a lot of roads fixed when the commissioner's up for re-election.
I bet. So I was going to tell the story of when I almost burnt down the house.
Oh,
right
boy.
before my sister.
Down the house.
Oh,
sorry.
It was 3 days before my sister's graduation reception, and she's 3 years older than me. So I was about 15-ish at the time, and I'm making a chicken breaded chicken patty on the stovetop with some oil, and I set the oil on fire. I got the baking soda out. I put some on there. It wasn't working. I knew my dad was outside moving picnic tables from the front yard to the backyard, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And I decided, this is not working. I'm going to carry the pan outside. So I carry the pan outside, and I set it in I did fine with it. I set it in the middle of the of the garage. The funny part is the people helping my dad in our little small town, helping him move the picnic tables to the backyard, was the police officer and two of our neighbors, one which was on the rescue squad and one that was on the fire department.
At least I knew what to do.
Yes. The firemen
Right.
grabbed the...
I noticed you said the police officer.
Yeah.
Small town.
Well, we might have had the part-time guy at the time. I don't know, but he lived like 4 houses down from us, so he would stop when he was on duty and just be like, "Hey, what's going on?" It was only
Guys,
1,000.
I actually have to hop because I still gotta make lunch for work and then I gotta hop out. So I will be out and join the chat instead. Guys,
Okay.
wonderful as always.
Thanks for
Sunday
being
I'll
here.
be
Thanks
at Luce's.
for the preview.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
no,
was
of
awesome.
course. Thank you guys for giving me the time, honestly. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon, all right?
All
Bye.
right.
Peace
Bye-bye.
out, brother.
Hopefully he'll Sunday morning for Last Man Standing. He'll be free to wake up at his usual time and be able to jump in. Probably will not be tomorrow night for a green room because that starts way earlier than time for him to wake up
Oh yeah.
in his part of the
Yeah.
spectrum of time zones.
Yeah, because doesn't that start at like 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning for him?
Probably
see,
earlier than that.
7 p.m. Central would be 2 a.m.
Ooh,
Yeah,
is when it starts.
yeah.
I don't
Because
care how much I
there's-
love you. I ain't waking up at 2 a.m.
You
just-
would if you had to.
2 or 3
Well,
a.m.
yeah, if
I
I
don't remember
had
if he's
to, but
7
I-
hours or 8 hours ahead of us. in
I
Central.
wouldn't do it just to get up and drink with everybody and make. Oh, it's 5:27 here right now for Mike Jimmy, so that gives you the time.
Oh,
And
okay.
For me, it is 11:27, and it is 10:27 for people in the Central Time Zone, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I misplace the decimal point and have the Earth turning in the wrong direction.
I always
Hey,
think about what they see on TV. 9/8 Central.
Mhm.
He's 7 hours ahead of us, Don.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, they were all helping Dad. So basically, as I'm screaming and carrying this pan out, they see the reflection in the door, and all they see is the fire. So they all come running into the garage through the back door. Well, I have the pan in one hand, and I'm carrying the container of baking soda in the other hand. So I still had some weight about me. Well, the fireman grabs the box of or the container of baking soda and starts to put the fire out. The rescue squad guy is looking at my hand because I did burn my hand on some of the oil. The cop was just sitting there looking around at everything. Not normal.
Mhm.
And my dad's like, oh my God, you know. But so yeah, that was when I almost burnt the house down. That's why I said it was safe for Last Man Standing. It was just a lot to type out, plus the fact that you said the cop, yeah.
Yes. If that ever happens again, if the baking soda doesn't work, try and find a lid for the pan to smother it.
Let's just say that was
Hey,
a long time ago.
if you're in
I've never
panic
done it.
mode, you do not think straight. I mean, seriously.
At 15.
At 15, you're always in panic mode.
Right. Well, I mean, to know that I was like, okay, don't put water on this, get baking soda. But basically I was kind of throwing it on there so it wasn't doing what it needed to do. But you know, I got the made, you know, that they said good job that you actually remembered to get baking soda.
Kudos. Yes, indeed. Always a good thing, especially at 15 when you remember the most important part of putting
A
out
grease
that
fire.
sort of fire. Yeah, because I have witnessed the aftermath of people who did not possess that particular tidbit of information. I've also witnessed the aftermath of somebody that thought that they had correctly placed the relief valve on a pressure cooker and wound up
Oops.
having to replace the sealing once they pulled the cast iron lid of the pressure cooker out of the ceiling.
Did you do that, Dan?
I did not. I witnessed the aftermath of that in someone else's home. It took them a while to where they actually got around to repairing the hole in the ceiling. Thankfully, it didn't go all the way into the attic and sprinkle the dinner with whatever kind of insulation they had in
Fiberglass.
the attic. Well, could have been fiberglass at that time. It could have been asbestos or oh God, worst case scenario, shredded newspaper. Yeah,
It is the
fire
South,
hazard.
yeah.
Well, no, I mean it was that old of a house.
In the
At
Oh
South.
yeah, but
no, it
especially in the
didn't.
South.
The
I
area,
mean,
the region didn't matter. For a house built in the early 1900s, shredded newspaper was the insulation. That's why a lot of those old houses are cold and drafty because newspaper's not that good of an insulation.
yeah, it used to be chemically treated newspaper, with a fairly decent fire retardant, unless you had a leaky roof, in which case all
Mhm.
the chemicals wash off the newspaper.
And the very next summer, it dried out and became a flammable brick, basically a fire log, only
It became
flat,
tinder.
like a sheet of plywood. Um, I'm very glad that is has been superseded in the building codes nowadays. Um, doesn't matter what you use. Hey, Michaela. Oh,
Ooh,
did I forget to add Michaela to the list for the
I didn't see
chat
her in
links?
there.
I've got.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I'm adding
Hi,
folks that
Michaela.
usually don't have time to show up for stupid o'clock, but sometimes have time for a last man standing, so that when I put in the last man standing link in the stupid o'clock link list, everybody gets to see it, and I don't have to send out individual ones anymore.
well, and then with me, you added both my personalities, so
That's right, built-in suspenders. I was covering all the bases.
so did you send her the link?
Not yet. She's still talking. She has good news.
She hired a PA that's worth worth something.
Worth her salt.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, yeah, she did that a while ago when she got you.
Aw, aren't you being so sweet, Joe?
Hey,
It may
salt
look
was
like
more
I'm not paying
precious than gold
attention,
at
but
one
I
point in
actually
time.
am.
What was that, Rich?
Said salt was more precious than gold at one point in time.
It should
True.
still be, honestly,
It's getting that way again.
because you need salt to survive. You don't need gold to survive.
Well, um, there's so many things that salt is a part of that we don't really think about on a regular basis as well.
Right. Well, and that's.
It's a
I'm
mineral.
still waiting for.
It's a seasoning. Still waiting for the news.
I know. I'm waiting for the good news.
Yes, well, I just added her to the link list along with Thessaly. Now that I was very remiss. I know Thessaly rarely has time off, and she's working on a college degree right now and seldom has time, but
That's the violinist, right?
yes, very nice person. Very nice person. They
Yeah,
are.
I got a couple of shows that she was on. Might have actually been on one.
Sorry, Rich. She prefers they.
Okay.
Yep. Um, and I said that wrong, but I'm still getting used to it myself. Really. Um, I I'm old. I'm stuck in my ways.
I will do my best to
I'm
oblige.
trying to adapt to the new. What is the word? I know there's a
Paradigm
word. Paradigm. Thank you. Yep, that'll work.
might not be the right one, but it's a good one.
Hey, I hate it when the paradigm shifts without a clutch.
Oh, by the way, speaking of clutches and the car thing, I couldn't resist that crank comment earlier.
Oh God,
I couldn't.
I tried to resist the asking Joe Dog when he was going to have a good joke. I tried. I lasted a whole minute.
I'm so grateful you did.
That was
Really?
hilarious.
I mean, there are times when Joe Dog leaves himself
So
wide open, and the temptation to point this fact out overcomes the realization that the emperor might not be want to be reminded that he's wearing no clothes. So
If Joe Dog
I have
left
gotten
himself
myself in a
any
lot of
wide
trouble over the
open,
years.
someone would have to check his prostate.
Not even in the green room.
Or the brown room, for that matter.
That lets you know there is a reply, but you're gonna have to ask me that one live when nobody and preferably after half a bottle of adult
Statesman?
beverages. Something on the order of half a bottle of crack in there before I'm not even looking around to see if he's listening.
Release the Kraken before talking about Joe Dog's Kraken?
Oh, Mike Jimmy, you're supposed to be drinking coffee and getting ready for work, making your lunch.
So, Crow for a while is getting the Old Spice body wash and shampoo and conditioner and all that stuff like that. And the flavor they chose was Kraken Guard. So I just kept making jokes about, so it's guarding your crack and again smelling funny.
You do realize when you're on life support, they can decide whether or not you get unplugged.
Well, I'm trying to make it easy for them to be able to unplug me.
But you know what?
As an IT person, Rich, if you did your training properly with them, they would know to unplug you and plug you back in to see if that fixed the problem.
Several dozen times.
Reboot.
They almost got in trouble in school.
Oh, Lord.
Because the teacher was having a computer issue and they tried to tell the teacher what to do to fix it. And the teacher was, I'm an adult, you're a child. What makes you think you know more than I do about computers?
Have you met my dad?
My dad works in IT. The teacher shut up.
Argument from authority.
Atta Crow.
Well,
definitely.
And the thing is, too, most of the students probably do know more about computers than the teacher does.
You know, you'd be surprised how many times that applies in kindergarten nowadays.
Mike Jimmy said he is making his
Preschool.
lunch, so
Yes, I saw that, but we were kind of
I know
in in the crow flow of the joke there. So
the crow flow.
I do have a way with words. Most of the time they're inappropriate, but I do have a way with them.
Did you
One
know
of
we
these
were in the
days I'm going to
crow
get
flow, Joe?
Oh, and the other day, Mike Jimmy, when I was talking about the interrupted attempted murder out in the parking lot, I was witnessing that live. It wasn't a joke. That was something that actually happened. There were two crows actually sitting in the
Oh.
parking lot. A third one coming in for a landing when the car came through, and all three scattered.
That is an attempted murder.
Interrupting an attempted murder.
I'm surprised you didn't go out there and try to interrupt the attempted murder.
No, I like crows and ravens.
Like all crows?
Not just because I have
But
a child that chose that
I was
name,
going to
but
say, are you specific to one crow that you like just a little bit more than the rest of them, though?
usually.
Okay.
When they're caught up on their homework.
How old is Crow?
15.
Oh, okay. Would Crow remember to grab the baking soda?
Probably not. They stressful situations like that, they regress.
Okay, I should, but I shouldn't. I'm sorry. It's just
No.
putting things into perspective when somebody says something. I was like, 15.
I would have, but I grew up the son of a volunteer firefighter.
Yep.
So
That's similar to the time when we had a box fan in the window catch fire right about the same time my alarm clock was supposed to go off before I went to work that morning. And we heard glass break, and I thought, oh no, what has the dog got into now? And looked, and the reflection of the fire on the bedroom door, which was open. I freaked out and promptly teleported down the hallway to the kitchen where the nearest fire extinguisher was. Came back and put the fire out. My wife was on the phone to the 911, getting the volunteer fire department out here, getting the dog outside, and the 911 operator told her, forget about the dog and your husband, get yourself outside. And my wife replied, I am not leaving my dog in there. My husband could take care of himself. So I'm standing there. I've got the fire extinguisher. I put it out. I put almost all of it. There was still a couple of little flickers going on when the fire department got here. And they didn't have to come in the house with the hoses and spray everything cut down. Thank God, because this was my office with the computers and everything in it. A little bit of water would have ruined my whole day. They just kind of swatted it with their hand and put it out. And went through and checked everything, made sure that even used the infrared thermometer, make sure there wasn't anything that they missed. And then told me I'd be a fine addition to the volunteer fire department, except they do have a dress code, and I would have to wear pants.
I'm scared to ask, but I'm going to. Were you at least wearing
Not while firefighting.
undergarments?
Not while firefighting.
Good thing your wife did take you out of the house then.
Be safe, brother.
Hey, by the time the firefighters
Bye,
got
Mike
here,
Jimmy.
See you, Mike.
Good night, Mike. By the time the firefighters got here, I did at least put on some pajama bottoms. But my wife had already told them that I teleported through the house twice stark naked, carrying a fire extinguisher, and put the fire out.
Hopefully you
Well,
grabbed the right nozzle.
either way, that fire was going out. Let me tell you. I'm glad I used the fire extinguisher that was labeled for electrical fires, though, because water is a conductor.
That could be bad, yes.
Yeah, that could have turned into quite the shocking situation for you.
Hey, I've had people.
Leave him alone.
I've had childhood friends whose family had electric fences on their property trying to get me to test the current the hard way, and I'm going. I'm too smart for that shit. So you
Had
I
a
just
cousin.
read a book called The Sound of Gravel, and oh god, there's a part in there.
well, 5 minutes after the guy tried to get me to pee on an electric fence, one of their cows did.
Had a cousin.
That cow set a land speed record for the 100-yard dash.
We were down visiting my uncle's farm. My cousin had a friend who was hiding in the barn and was listening to the conversation, and he turned the electric fence off for my cousin to pee on it. So I started peeing on it, and my cousin nodded to the friend. I didn't see it. The cousin turned that sucker back on. My cousin is lucky he was 12 years older than me. And I was like 5.
Dang.
That's why they created equalizers.
Still not with him to this day.
What was that?
Yeah, but
You went robot
damn
voice
it.
there in the last phrase.
Yeah, that last phrase was robot-y.
Yeah, but back then, Richie was actually still good and pure and nice, and believe it or not, yes, I actually was at one point in time.
Weren't we
That's
all?
before evil Richie started taking over.
And still hadn't learned to swing a crowbar correctly.
Couldn't pick up the crowbar to swing it correctly. Could swing a wiffle ball bat with pretty good accuracy.
With the
Was
right
always able to
topic,
hit 2 homes and run.
yes, with the right target, wiffle ball bat would probably make an impression.
Good evening, Nick and Amanda.
Hello,
some
Nick.
plaster of Paris and some duct tape. You can get anyone to answer whatever questions you want.
And since Nick is here,
Hey, brother Nick.
we'll change to a gradient.
and my next door neighbor thinks she's a dominatrix.
Ooh.
Well, she is.
No. Not is. Was. Nick's most recent comment. About me catching a lightning bolt for saying I'm pure and nice. Not is. Was. I was at 5. I was.
Weren't we all at one time? I mean, maybe
Probably.
I was an embryo, but technically I qualified. But the world had other ideas.
I'm still a perfect angel. My wings are just a little dirty. My halo's a little tarnished, a little bent and rusty, but
Perfect angel. Follows Lucifer, but perfect angel.
I try to be a good person.
I don't.
I try to be a good person because this mouth gets me in trouble.
I
can
try not to be a
understand
bad
that.
person. I don't try to be a good person.
I try not to be an evil person. But sometimes being less than ideal is so much fun. Hello, Michaela.
Hey, Michaela.
Hi.
Hello! You want to hear my exciting news?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Is it what I
No, we
think
don't
it
want to. Just no. We're too busy talking to each other. Yes, Michaela, please.
Okay. So, at my work, Dawn knows part of this. At my day job thing that I have, normally I work nights and weekends because I have to take my younger daughter to her day job in the morning. And then we do her homeschooling before I go to work. So, okay. Now, we were thinking that the hours would be something like 6 to 1:30, Monday through Friday. Now, for book signings and cons and stuff, that would be perfect. Freaking perfect.
Mhm.
And because the farmer market season is coming up and gardening season is coming up, that'd be perfect. I get off at 1:30. I could go home, get all the gardening stuff done. The weekends we could spend, both Mickey and I could go to different farmer markets like we'd planned on. I'd planned to go to the bigger one in the city that Dawn lives in, and Mickey was going to do the one in the little town where she loves to go and she knows the people. And but we were going to hit both of them if we could pull it off. Well, so now we get to pull that off, and I get to work Monday through Friday, no weekends.
All right.
Yes. Which also means, so I don't have to request off for quad cons other than if I have to leave on a Friday and I don't get back till late Sunday. Even if I got back late Sunday, that wouldn't interfere with going in Monday at 10:30. So they've changed it a little bit. So instead of the 6 to 1:30, for right now, there's a lady that works there and she's mentally handicapped, but she's been there 28 years. So they don't want to just like shove her out the door. So they told her, they said, listen, we're just going to cut back your hours and you can work the morning shift like you always do, but only till 11 o'clock, because that's when the lunch rush starts to come in and things start to get crazy for her. So in order to let her keep her job, they said, okay, at 11, you can go home. It's just shortened hours, right? You still have your job. You're still doing your thing. But at 11, you go home. So then I work 10:30 to 4. Perfect. Yay.
So you're working 10:30 to 4?
10:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's going to take a little while to get someone trained to take my spot doing dish and prep, and to find someone who does the 6 to 1:30 shift on the weekends. Because normally I do Saturday and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 1:30. That's not
what I have written
what
down.
wants. Especially when you work with a bunch of teenagers. And granted,
Yeah.
they're not all teenagers, but they're a lot younger than me, so they're teenagers. But not everybody wants that shit. Yeah. But I am so damn thrilled because this means
I call anyone
so
30
many
or
things
under a
open up.
kid.
Huh?
I call anyone 30 or under a kid.
Yeah, I mean, like
if you're
at
young
this
enough to
point,
be one of my kids, you're a kid.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
That would put me
what
at a
happened?
disadvantage.
So what happened was my daughter took the job, and she was going to step in because this other woman is reaching retirement age, and she's slowing down, and they don't want to be rude to her, and they don't want to say, you're too old, get your ass out. So they're cutting her hours back, and that's what they were doing with my daughter, Mickey. Mickey was working there, and she was like, hey, I can do that, no problem, because she didn't have to run Lexi to her job in the mornings. And she can work nights, she can work days, whatever. And she was like, yeah, just throw me in wherever you need me. Well, it turns out that they're wanting Debbie to retire, so they were going to put Mickey in Debbie's spot. And I was like, man, that'd be perfect. Man, that would be really perfect for me. The only
So is
hiccup
Mickey still doing her other job?
Yes. So she wasn't sure. She was like, if I'm going to work mornings for the Busy Corner, then I can still work evenings for Dairy Queen, because Dairy Queen's only given her a couple days a week. So it's not a huge deal. Like
Wait, wasn't she working a different job?
Huh?
Wasn't she working a different job? Okay.
She was working for FedEx, but as you know, it's not Christmas time anymore.
Oh, okay.
So when you work for FedEx and your job is to move the boxes from the conveyor belt to the truck, and there's not enough boxes for everyone that's in the factory, you lose the lowest man on the totem pole. Yeah. So they were like, oh, yeah, we got work for you. And she would go in, and it was like 3 days in a row, she worked 2 hours. She drove all the way to Morton from our house, which is an hour drive. So 1 hour drive to work 2 hours and drive an hour home. Like, that's not even worth it, even though they paid her more, like $4 an hour more than she was making at Dairy Queen. She's like, guys, no. Like, it doesn't even make sense. So she called Dairy Queen up and she was like, hey, how about I come back to work? And they were like, yes, come back to work, please. So she went back to them for a while and she's like, Mom, I really want to get out of this. I want to do something else. We've got some new people there that I just don't jive with. I'm like, okay, well, we're hiring. I don't know if you want to do it or not, but we're looking. And then when they gave her that position, I was like, what? Wait a minute. You're going to work 6 to 1:30 and no weekend? Screw you. Well, then, so we're joking back and forth. And I was like, okay, when you find a better job and you move on, I'm taking that spot. But I can't yet because I got to take Lexi to work, right? So it didn't work. And so then we were talking about, did she like the job? Does she, find it easy to do, things like that? And she says, Mom, it's okay, but my hands are broke out. Well, this kid has always had sensitive skin her entire life. Like, we noticed it when she was a little kid. You know how they'll get, like, ketchup and ranch dressing all over their face when they eat? This kid would do it, and her whole face would turn red. We're like, okay, she's allergic to ranch dressing? No, she's just sensitive skin, and anything like ranch dressing or ketchup or mustard or anything on her face would make her whole face break out.
My youngest was the same way.
Yeah, and so we can't use any laundry soap except Tide, because otherwise she breaks out. When we go on road trips and we stay at a hotel, she has to bring her own blankets and pillows because she will break out and she'll be a lobster in the morning. So, didn't think anything of it because at her job at Dairy Queen, she does dishes. Now, granted, not in the big dishwasher machine, sliding it down a rack, none of that, but she does do dishes. And I didn't think anything of it because here at home we use Dawn. Dawn is very gentle and not abrasive. And
see?
Yeah.
We've got Dawn in our kitchen too.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere.
we didn't even think anything
Dawn's
of
awesome
it.
because she power washes.
Ooh.
Not the green room. Not the green room.
Kinky.
No, but we'll remember it by then. But no, we didn't even think of it. And this poor kid, her hands are swollen, they're red. She can't touch anything. She itches all the time. Like, oh my God, this poor kid. So she's like, well, I can't do this job anymore. And she didn't know who it was. She was working one day, and Derek, the guy that owns the place, walks up and he's like, so how you liking the job and how's things going? And would you like to do loading? And she says, I think if I touch wet food, I'll throw up. And he says, well, then dishwashing is probably not the job for you. And she's like, yeah, probably not. And she's joking. She's having a good time, right? So then she sends me a text halfway through the day, and she says, who's the guy with the, I think she said headset. He's really tall, and he wears a headset. And I'm like, you mean an earpiece? Because it literally is just a little tiny earpiece. And I said, is he 9 foot tall? And she said, yeah. And I said, that's Derek, the owner. And she goes, oh, shit. I said,
yeah, Mom, I think I just got fired.
Yeah, I was like, why? And she goes, well, he asked if I liked loading, and I said no. And he asked me if I wanted to do prep. And I said, well, do you want to do prep? Which is prep all the food and get it ready for the front line, for the waitresses, things like that. And that's what I do now. And she goes, yeah, actually, I kind of do. I'm like, okay. So now I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck. I really wanted this job. I really wanted her to kind of hang on to it until I could step into it. Okay. And so I said, well, you want to do prep? You're sure? And she's like, yeah, I would really rather do that than dishes. I said, okay. So I texted Derek and number 1 and number 2, and I was like, I'll take her job. If she can take my job and work second shift, I can take her first shift job. But it has to work that way, or I can't take the first shift job because of my other daughter having a job. And they were both like, yeah, that's what we were thinking. So before I even got to work that day, the 2 bosses had figured it out. They were like, nope, we're going to switch you guys, and this is how it's going to go. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to work 6 to 1:30. Nope. Right now, it's 10 to 4:30, which is okay, because then I can take Lexi to her job in the morning. Mickey can sleep in, and Lexi can text her and say, hey, I'm done for the day at whatever time it is. Because some days it's 10:30. Some days it's not till 1:30, So Mickey can sleep in. And she doesn't have to be up at 6 or 7 to take Lexi to the barn. Like, this is absolutely perfect. I don't know what juju I've got, but like, this is perfect. So
You sent good out and good came back to you.
I guess, because I love it. It could not have fallen any better.
What an interesting night, considering my day was so wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emmy messaged me and she's like, I feel like I'm a prisoner. I'm like, okay, I'm coming over. So everything just got
yeah. She needs to email me too, or text me.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. She goes, by the way, what did I win? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Does it have to be volted to the floor?
The what?
Yeah.
Does it have to be volted to the floor?
No. I said,
no.
She goes, well, what book do I want? And I'm like, what? She goes, well, you know me. What book do I want?
All of them. All of them. Everybody.
Yeah, all of them.
I mean, welcome to my library. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But then by the time because then we ended up going for lunch, and we came home and she was
Rowley, you little stinker. So, did I tell you about at the barn that there's a horsey that got loose yesterday?
No.
I think you mentioned it to me.
That's a good brief. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so here's what I do. When I take Lexi to the barn, it is a barn that they board horses. They have their own horses. So they have indoor arenas, outdoor arenas, pastures and things, and horses everywhere. So Lexi's job is basically that day it was to feed the horses. So you bring them in, you let them eat, and then they all go back outside. So she's doing her chores. Once in a while, they'll have horses that are in quarantine. Because when you bring a new horse into a pasture of horses, you can't let it just go out there. It might have.
Now you know where she gets her inspiration for pieces.
Yeah. So
always promote.
Yeah. So she goes out. Some of these horses have to be kept separate. Well, this one in particular is a project horse in the respect that it needs a lot of work. Like, she's not used to people. She's very, what we would call gun shy. Any little noise and she's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
We had dogs like that at the shelter.
Yeah. And they're just gun shy. They're skittish about everything. If a door bangs against another door, they're like, what was that? No, it's fine. Calm down. You need some pills. Calm down.
Yep, we gave the dogs pills.
Right. So it's like, is there medication we can give this one? She just needs to calm down. So I had heard about Lena, and that they got a new horse, Lena. Not a big deal. They get new horses all the time. They quarantine horses all the time. But when that happens, the horse stays in this stall or it stays in a pasture. Well, this one happens to be in a stall. Lexi's job is to clean the stalls. So she has to move Lena from one stall to the other. Not a big deal. She does this with horses every day. Lena, however, when she came out of the stall, bumped her hip on the door, which made a noise, and something touched her. She freaked out. So not only did she get loose from Lexi, Lexi couldn't catch her. So she runs out of the line of stalls into the main arena, out the other door, and she's loose. So the whole time that we're out there, I'm in what's called the warming room. There's a big picture window out onto the indoor arena. So in the wintertime, parents can watch their kids at lessons. So I'm in the warming room. I'm doing my riding, and I can hear the thundering of hooves, but I didn't know that's what it was. I heard something. And as this horse flew by the window, I could hear it kick up the gravel on the tin of the room. Like, okay, so I glance up in time to see the horse's ass go past the window. That's all I saw, like just horse ass. I'm like,
But enough about Joe Dog.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, so the moment my brain goes, that's not right, Lexi comes in front of the window and she knows that we can't talk through it, but she comes to the window, she pauses for half a second and goes, okay, calm down, kid, calm down. I'm coming, hang on. So I come out, breathing, and she goes, Lena got loose. And I'm like, okay, there's fences all over this property. Like, she can't go far. So like,
Want a bit?
Well, I know that when horses spook, a lot of times it's that initial spook, and then they're like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Not Lena. No. This little turd. No. So basically, as we're trying to get Lena to come to us, and kind of pinning her in and hemming her in, and finally we do get her. But it took us about an hour and a half to really corral her, get her calmed down, and get her back in. So this whole time, I'm talking to Lexi's talking to the owners, and neither one of them are available that day. Most of the time, one of them will work from home. So one of them is usually available. This day, not so much. So she's on the phone with the owners. I'm talking to her, and I'm learning about this horse. Probably. I'm learning more about this horse, and Lexi says, well, this is a project horse that they got from somebody, and she's only like 2 years old. I'm like, okay. And Lexi says, yeah, they said that their friend had this horse just out in a pasture, and because they would go out to feed it or to touch it, and it didn't want to be touched, it would turn its butt and kick at them, so they would walk away. Like, I got it. Okay. So we basically have a wild horse that no one has handled her entire 2 years of life. And now she's like, I don't know what this is. And this is scary.
Sounds like our cat.
So I'm like, okay, so she's just gun shy. She just needs to calm down and realize that there's going to be noises, there's going to be sights and sounds and things that you don't know, but it's okay. You know, and like most horses will come out of it. If you work with them intensely, most of them will come out of it. I'm like, so she just needs people time. Okay. So yesterday I texted Beth and I said, hey, would you mind if I just walked Lena around the indoor arena? Just walk in, just basic stuff. And Beth and I have talked before about the fact that I grew up with horses. I know horses. And that's why my daughters fell in love with horses. So I said, I'm not stupid when it comes to training them. You know, they're a lot, ironically, like dogs. They're super smart. Except this one. But I said, you know, would you mind? And so she sends me a text this morning and it says, hey, I talked to my husband because that's his project. Apparently he bought this horse. It's his project. And she's like, we can't pay you anything for it, but if you want to, because you're bored, like, have fun. Just be careful. Like, oh, twist my arm. Oh my God. So now I'm like, oh God, I got to work at the busy corner now. Now I got to work at the restaurant in the mornings. No, I don't. I don't have to go in until 10:30. That gives me an hour and a half to play with a horsey.
So there's lots of happy things going on.
Yes, and then what prompted that story was that my kid Lexi put the video on Facebook, and it's me walking this horse around the arena just real slowly. And it says something like, I think my mom found her new favorite hobby. Shithead.
What's really funny is what horsey used to mean in my family when I was very
5.
young.
When you were peeing on fences.
Well, you know,
like
there is time after that.
So, horsey is what my mother used to refer to a man's genitalia.
Oh.
So when I was being potty trained, make sure your horsey's pointed in the toilet,
Oh.
And Michaela's playing with the horsey.
Well,
leading the horsey around, making sure that it behaves.
And why are we not surprised?
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
I mean, you've met Michaela, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say hello.
Mm-hmm. So, did you watch any of the, never mind the furthermore from yesterday?
Me?
Yeah.
Yesterday. Yes, I was watching it when I got the in the window.
Hi, Joe.
In your window and out the door.
The horse goes that way.
That noise, even though I'm wearing headphones, I think my dog's just running down the hallway in fear.
That's all right. I didn't need those frequencies anyway.
I actually quoted Obsidian Hearts for you. Not for you, but it fit the conversation. So I get out the book and I'm reading Obsidian Hearts.
Oh, yes. I saw that. And I was like, yeah, this is why I...
And then figuring out that, hey, I'm Megan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, good God.
Oh, my God. Unfortunately, the horsey sauce is red.
Isn't it white,
Yes.
Chris, what part of this is not the green room did you not understand?
No.
He's talking about Arby's. Oh, yeah.
He may be. He may be.
It is spicy. And it's the right color.
If it's spicy, there's something going on.
Wrong type of spicy, but...
Well, you only have to be afraid of the ones that look like the Arby's roast beef sandwich with horsey sauce. Anyway.
There's a line about walking through a pasture and having to be careful that I'm just not getting the whole quote here. It's in here somewhere, but I can't pry it out with a crowbar.
I don't know who you lost more, me or Rich.
Yes, folks. And if you join Uncle Carl's green room, you can hear even more of this in more detail.
Oh, dear.
Without filters.
I don't think Joe filtered that. Well, apparently neither did she.
with less filters and more alcohol.
Nicholas says y'all need Jesus.
I'm sorry, I do my own
I
gardening.
got him. He does my well, I won't have him until mowing season again. But Jesus is a really good worker.
He's marvelous with tomato plants, I'll tell you that.
And every once
Oh
in a
my
while, he brings some of his mama's tamales over, and oh dear mother of God, I have to loosen my belt after that. I gained 5 pounds from the tamales.
Oh, Rich, I believe one or the both of us is going to have an ambulance called at Hallowcon because we're going to make each other just bust out laughing until we can't breathe.
Michaela, can we go to Hallowcon?
Not this year, but
that's when
well,
my
I tell
Jimmy's
you
going to
what,
be
I
there.
tell
No,
you
I'm
what.
kidding.
We can make it to Hallowcon if we sell $1,000 worth of books between now and August.
Okay. Rich, how many of her books do you have? There's
enough,
2 on Vela.
but,
Joe?
I'll
What
be
was
honest,
that?
I'll be honest. I have none of them.
I said not nearly enough, but funds are really tight right now.
Yeah, everybody is.
I'm just you,
we know.
Dan.
I've got the Warrior series on ebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
He blew me away. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading your books." I'm like, "You are not." He's like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah, he never proved it to me during On the Move.
Holy crap!
That's because it's an ebook. I'd have to take a picture of me holding up the Kindle.
Did you not see what I did? I took pictures of my Kindle.
Yeah, you can take pictures of the Kindle, like with your phone.
Oh. Okay. And I'm supposed to be technologically advanced.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the hell, dude?
Did you not see the original picture? Never mind. It's too late. I mean, it's too late tonight.
So the thing is, Dawn, if you actually look at my Amazon Kindle library, my Apple iBooks library.
Is it safe for work?
Oh, extremely.
Oh.
That's why Michaela's books aren't on there.
Well,
That's
no.
because he works unsupervised.
Well, there is that. But no, it's all tech stuff.
I was gonna say it's probably all work-related tech stuff, or
it's all different coding manuals, and I think there are like 3 actual books.
Yeah.
You don't want to see how the place my Kindle library is.
I'm just kidding. I was just teasing. When she said 1,000 books, I had to start with where I could, and that was with the 3 guys above me.
I'm trying, damn it.
Hey, I even left a review, and I said it's not the genre I usually read, but this is good stuff.
That's how I am with Kelly's book.
Because I was looking for something the one day. I think I was looking for snippets of reviews to use on something. And I saw that and I was like, I'll be goddamned.
I have read every one of them. And to be honest, I like the structure and the character, the main point of view characters in the 4th book the most. But I liked all of it.
Right.
All 4.
It's kind of funny because you like the 4th book and I like the 3rd book, and we figured out you like the technical stuff and blah blah blah, kind of more what Nicole does. She brings that modern day twist to it. You've said that.
Yes. I like there's this
Pygmalion thing almost.
There's a character that comes in with almost the reader's point of view.
Yes,
of someone that's not familiar with the world, and then you get to see the world through that character's eyes, and it's much more accessible to someone who is not immersed in the genre and knows all the tropes.
And see, I like the 3rd one because we figured out that I'm Megan. You guys, oh, I just poked myself with a pen and that hurt. You guys are all the warriors, and then there's Megan in the background. She makes sure that people are taken care of. She does the. So it's amazing how we figured out that I'm the Megan for all of you guys.
Yeah, because we
I'm
each
I'm
have
I'm not
like
one. I'm
either
not one of the warriors. I'm just some wizard that walks through and goes, did you notice this? Oh,
no,
You
excuse
because
me.
make
I'm
you make
being.
you're a
music.
writer. You're a writer. I'm a writer. Brian's a writer. Rich is
You
a
make
writer.
music.
Joe's our tech guy. Nick is a writer and an artist, and like, and so Dawn is like, where do I fit? Megan's doing the same thing in that book. Where do I fit? I don't fit. I'm not a warrior. And Dawn does the same thing. So, oh, shut up. You're writing.
Metaphorically, and you better be writing, otherwise we're going to tell Nick on you.
But I'm also a tech guy.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Next
But
thing here,
that's
technically,
Dawn's
I am
point.
also an author.
Is, right. And so, but that's Dawn's point is like, yeah.
There's 3 guys on 2 girls.
Yeah, exactly. Every story needs support characters. And the good
I'm not
stories
asleep. I'm
have
counting
them.
books.
Huh?
Nick
He's
said,
counting books.
"Wake up and go to bed." I'm not sleeping. I'm counting books on my e-reader.
Ah, okay.
See if he has room for yours. No.
Is that like counting sheep, or is that...
I'm
It's-
already up to 200.
Oh, jeez.
Hmm? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well-
I have run out of shelf space in my house. I only have last time I physically counted them was when I moved into the house, and there were 11,000 paperback and hardback books. 11,000.
I don't know that the
And
small town I
I-
grew up in had that many in their library.
I was going to say, our library sure as hell doesn't. It's no bigger than my living room.
I've had a lot of people come over and say, your house is built out of books. I'm going, well, no, my life is, but my house, it's brick and mortar.
I bet if you take all the books out, the house would fall down.
No, but if I took the bookshelves down,
Not before I get into Kindle.
I build good bookshelves. But I have had to switch to the Kindle because I have no more walls I can build bookshelves against. My wife is complaining because she has no place to hang photographs because I've got bookshelves everywhere. I even have a set of bookshelves in my walk-in closet.
So if you
I thought he was going to say the bathroom.
No, the bathroom. That's there's no room for bookshelves. You might be able to get 15 or 20 in one little teeny tiny shelf on one wall, but that's it. I mean, the washer and dryer, the sink, the toilet, the bathtub, that takes up most of the available wall space. And then there wouldn't be room for Lindsay's makeup. So,
that's off limit.
of course.
Chaz,
This is
what
not
happened to
my
my
first
makeup?
rodeo. Hell, I know. She's even got her own closet. I have the other 5, but
I was going to say 1. Okay, whatever.
it's the biggest closet.
I like the fact that each of my aunt and uncle each have a, so let's say their wall is 25 feet long. The wall is separated by 2 closets, his and hers, right? So each of them has a pretty big closet. They're not walk-in, but they're pretty big. They haven't been in those closets since 1980 something.
Time to make bookshelves in there then.
I would do such a thing. But I keep thinking one of these days, like maybe they'll throw that stuff away or at least go through it and, pitch some of it that, at least the stuff that doesn't fit. Oh, hell no. No. When they die, that is going to be like project number 1.
Oh, I've got the answer.
Clean your closets out.
I've got the answer, Nick, here. Nick, I have a 1 terabyte SD card that I have plugged into my desktop computer.
What are you eating?
as a hard drive, and
Nothing at the
there's
moment.
almost no room for ebooks on there. And that doesn't include what's on my Kindle. That's all stuff that I got from downloading ebooks
Mhm.
from data DVDs that I bought, because they always came not only with what I bought, but bonus stuff. Boom, boom, boom. There's an entire library on there of things that I have read in the past from a physical library, and stuff I have yet to read, and stuff that I never even heard of before. But I've got an entire library of Star Trek novelizations that I've only read maybe 10 or 15 that aren't on my shelves already,
Mhm.
because it's really hard to read an ebook on a desktop computer with it when it's in its own special format and you don't have the right reader. Some of them I do have the right readers, because I've got like 5 or 6 different ebook
Yeah.
readers.
Neat. Chris says
Well,
he
I
has 2 of my books. Holy
well,
crap!
yeah.
You guys are freaking amazing. I
Hey,
just
and
figured because I said the word romance, you guys are like, oh hell no. Nope.
hey, Andre Norton. Andre Norton wrote primarily romances, but they were set in science fiction or sometimes fantasy
Well,
settings.
and that's when I wrote this story originally, and I hid it in a drawer, and then wrote some more, and then I hid it, and people would ask me, well, what genre is it? And I'm like, well, it's romance, but it's like sci-fi maybe, or maybe
Hmm.
medieval
Be
romance.
right back.
Okay. We couldn't really figure out what to call it, and then somebody said, that's like paranormal romance. I'm like, what's paranormal romance?
What you write.
Right. I had no idea. I just wrote the story I wanted to read.
Oh Lord, we were
But
just
I
left
do have
unsupervised.
the sample for Warrior's Secret on Kindle. I
I was
just
gonna say, if
haven't
you
had a
have a
chance
Kindle,
to
Rich,
get
I'll send you the
to it yet.
ebook version of it. I don't have the updated version yet,
Well,
so
no, it's
let's wait until I get the updated version done, and I can send you the ebook.
yeah.
Rich, I was just giving you
Once
guys a hard
I get a
time.
chance. No, it's I like to try to support my friends and stuff like that, and I do
We all
plan
do.
on purchasing when I get a chance. But I did download the cheater version.
That's okay. If you
And
go
as
to
soon as I get a
Google
chance,
Books, I don't know if it'll be up anymore because the publisher took it down because I took the rights back. So until I put it back up, Warrior Secret is technically not available. But Google Books might have, I think they have like 300 pages of it, which to me is like that's like most of the book. So I contacted my publisher and they're like, yeah, that's Google Books. That's what they do. Like, that's shitty, but okay. But that's like when I started Devello. I thought, because when I first started hearing other authors talk about it, I had thought they were talking about you have to give away the first 3 chapters. Well, that's a lot of content.
Mhm.
Like, what the, like, but then again, if you think about it, us authors usually will give away a free book here or there. We'll give away the first chapter as a teaser, like, hey, if you like the first chapter, maybe you'll buy the book. And it's like, okay, well, maybe the first 3 chapters wouldn't be so bad. Well, then I looked into it, and it's no, the first 3 episodes. Episodes can be as small as 500 words. So in 500 words, if you hook them good enough, then they've got another 500 words, and so only 1,500 words. My chapters are like 6,000 words. So 1,500 words I'm giving away, big deal. Yeah, that's one of my articles in the Sportsman's Guide. So, like, that's nothing.
Well, sometime here in the near future, Indie CD might be down for a couple days.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
Hopefully, it's going to be a good thing if I don't bash my head against the wall.
Okay.
So
No
I'm
bashing.
looking at changing who I have my hosting through,
Okay.
because GoDaddy, even though I have unlimited storage space, only allows you to upload a certain amount of files, which happens to be 250,000 files.
Oh shit.
Now, most people will go, "Oh, well, that's not that, that's a lot."
Right.
You don't have that
Across a
many
bunch of
pictures.
different.
Yeah, you don't have that many pictures on the websites. You don't have that much of this, that much of that. Well, it also takes into account all the back end files to be able to run the website.
Yep.
And that takes up probably how many thousands right there?
Well, right now I'm sitting at about 30%. For me to try and implement the next thing that I want to do, it takes me over the 50% threshold. And if NDCD does end up blowing up, I'm going to
Which
run
we're
out of
hoping.
space real quick.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I've been looking at different hostings. That's why I've been looking away from the camera most of the night at the other screen,
Yeah.
looking at different places. What is it going to cost? And trying to find a place, find services that they're like, oh yeah, you have unlimited unlimited storage space,
Yeah.
with either unlimited, actual
I don't know how
files.
much space or whatever it offers, but I use Wix. So I know there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Well, with me hosting, because I host under the same GoDaddy account, I have multiple websites. I
Okay.
have ndcd.org, I have theburningislove.com, I have joebachtek.com, which I only need that website to host a privacy policy on, so I can put my apps out on the app stores.
Mm.
And then nicholastockert.com is on there. So
Nick did it. We get to blame Nick.
Yes.
Amazing,
No,
Nick,
'cause-
amazing.
no, because we're still working on getting his website fully set up. Which, Nick, if you're still watching, we need to get that set up at some point.
I would like mine to be snazzier, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's okay, but again, like I think it could be something that, like, when you click on it, you're like, wow, that's really cool. Not like, oh, okay, it's a website.
Mhm. I think I've actually looked at your
Backstage.
website
Nick is
before.
backstage.
Yes, he is.
What? Dun dun dun. And Dan's gone.
It's authormichaelajade.com, right?
Yes. God, my hands hurt.
Oh, mine were horrible today. I keep
I'm just-
dropping.
Instead of lotion, I'm sitting here playing with triple antibiotic ointment.
I'm to that point where I'm about ready to get that.
Yeah, I mean, like, why not? It's 97 cents at Walmart for the little tube, and like a little bit goes a long way. Speaking, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We know how a little bit. Not the green room, not the green room.
Not the green room. Yep. I can't wait. I have tomorrow night is the first Friday I've had off in 6 or 7 months, and I'm so damn excited. I'm just like, and it's such a simple thing, but it's like, hey Nick.
Hi Nick.
Hey Nick.
Hi.
But
it's
Sorry
such,
about
I was
that.
thinking that Friday
No
night
worries,
is a
I've had
night
fun.
where, huh?
No worries, I've had fun lurking in the chat, sending things on the private comments.
Blah, 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 blah.
You're cutting out.
Yes, give my computer a second. It
Okay.
should be better now. All right.
No.
Something has happened so much, it suddenly
Next
takes
person
my
making a
attention.
Nishida.
But
Did my
how is
microphone
everyone
come
doing
back on?
tonight, aside from forcing shenanigans?
Yes, Dan, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry about that. my wife's chili for 3
all this
days.
talk about Nick and what's going on in the background, y'all summoned me. And,
Yeah.
I hate being summoned. It's so annoying. But I love y'all, so I'll let it slide. Largely
Well,
because
when I
I'm
first-
afraid of Dan.
When I
You
first
all
saw you
need
in the
to
chat,
get
I had
used
to
to
switch.
that.
I had to switch to the gradient background. So
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, what type? Yeah, actually, we're going to just simple. Don't need. Oh, God. Needs to not be in the same color as the background, Nikolai. That's fine.
One of these days, I'll figure that stuff out. I have another announcement, but I need to talk to Don before we make the announcement. So.
Oh, announcements! I have
Yes,
one.
announcements like Bazinga bitches.
Flag on the field. After
Flag on the
3
flag.
freaking years, the Hybrids RPG is launching this Thursday.
nice.
So
Good.
finally, it's going to get out and be in people's hands as part of Luke's next campaign.
Cool.
We were waiting for Fund My Comic, and that wasn't
I think
We read the Chris.
going to work. No, what I am doing is I am setting up a graphic that I will then probably send to Dan. And, anyone else who needs it as an overlay for your own safety. And it's taking me a second
I
because
I love being overlaid.
there's no
Is there any
way
such thing
like
as that,
overlay.
Dan?
Sounds heavenly.
You got to work that into your next book, Michaela.
Overlaying. Yeah, I can do that. I'll make it in.
So,
Think you probably already have.
Well, I tell you what, Dan. If you like my books for a certain reason, my next Kindle Vella that I'm coming up with, Dawn has seen photos of what I've been writing.
Not those kind of photos.
Huh?
Not those kind of photos.
No,
photos
no.
of her actual
Of what
words.
I'm writing. I write in a notebook and then I take a picture and I send the words to Dawn and she's like, excuse me a second.
Getting
Like, yeah,
hot in
those are
here.
going on, Bella.
Like the background that Joe has. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Well, I do have to admit, I like the plot.
Y'all need Jesus. Or like the nearest sense, semi-celestial
I'm agnostic.
entity.
I was gonna say I don't. It's not
I don't
my
know, but
favorite.
I don't know, Nick. But there's a lot of crows that hang out in my yard.
That's fine too. I know their boss. I know most people's bosses at one point or another.
So Nick,
It's the Walmart theory, guys. Just because I talk to the general manager of the store doesn't mean I'm not going to say you might not know the front end. I'm not,
really.
or head of electronics or whatever.
Uh-huh.
the front end. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick, did you have fun yesterday?
Yesterday was actually one of the best shows I've had in a long time, and it was impressive with how sick I was and how sick I've been the last few days. Because I think I was over 100 degrees for most of yesterday, like the stream. So it was great having you on. We got really solid
Stop it, Dan. This is not the green room.
Yes, I deleted it.
Nick had the experience to go with 3 women for over 4 hours.
3.
It was only a 3-hour tour. See, I'm doing a rep training. So I did 3 hours yesterday. I did 3 hours today.
3-hour tour. 3-hour tour.
I still say the professor set all that up just because it gave him the best statistical odds to get laid. Because realistically, on that island, his only competition was a rage-filled, bumbling, overweight man in Gilligan.
Hey.
And he had probably 2 to 3 options of boot knocking because Thurston demonstrated many things, but stamina was not one of them.
Do you know how long
Well,
it's
it's good
been
to-
since I've heard the boot knocking thing?
The thing is, nobody considers their life before they got on the boat.
I can't believe Ted and I just watched like 3 episodes of that last week, so now it's like really bright in my head.
That's my job.
Mhm.
My job is to build people up, educate, and enlighten, and sometimes enlightenment breaks reality. I would apologize, but I didn't do anything wrong.
That's right, folks. Nick is going to light y'all up.
All right,
That's
guys.
right.
I
I
love
think-
you guys, but I have to get up early to take the minion to her job. So,
Oh,
but I will see
before
you in the green room. 'Cause
Congratulations.
Before you
I
go,
will not be
Michaela,
working. Huh?
before you go,
Uh-huh.
once I get everything switched over to the new hosting,
Yeah.
I might try and play around with a different site for you, if
Okay.
you want to, for the author.
The only thing I really like about mine that I'd like to keep is the blog. I can go over there and blog whenever I want to, and that
Oh, yeah,
helps
that's
with
easy
the
enough.
SEO. Huh?
Yeah, that's easy enough to do.
Okay. Then yeah, absolutely. I would love
Yeah.
that to be like a fantasy, more of a fantasy theme, because that's what my books are.
And her favorite
and I would
color is
like it
purple.
when people first open that first page for it to be like, wow, okay. It's not.
Yeah, I'll
Good.
play around.
I
See what I can
started
do.
working on mine. It looks like a lovely website from 2012. And
Yeah, that's kind of mine. Like it's
my
it's
problem is I
okay.
had my
It does
big book
its
of
job, but like,
passwords,
Welcome to
and I lost it.
GeoCities.
But no,
Dan,
yeah,
you
that
have
would
a
be great.
present.
Okay.
You have a small but useful present in the link send chat. It's also up on my Facebook page if it is needed. That way you can bring it as an overlay when the situation calls for it.
Well, yeah, and I also have the banner pretty much ready to go at any time.
Yes.
I was hoping that it was going to be Rich's sign that he holds up. That it was going to be that.
Yeah.
Come on, Rich, hold it up. Whip it out,
I'm
Rich.
leaving that alone.
That's what she said.
Mm.
Now, see that sign that I just
I'm going
sent
to
you.
bed. Okay, bye.
See ya.
Good night, Michaela. Congrats.
I have ramen noodles. Life's good. I mean, I'm sorry. Yay.
I have you guys. Life's good.
Yeah, you know what it is. No, you are awesome people. Let me check my settings because I bet my settings are all screwed up.
I honestly though yesterday
I am so not touching that line.
Nick,
Yeah, you
your
kinda set
settings have
yourself
been
up a
slightly screwed up as long as I've known you, brother.
You know, I've said that there is something wrong with my system, and I would really like.
He can't help it. He was just conceived that way.
To be honest, there's something wrong with all of our settings. I'm just saying.
Well,
And you know
I
what?
think
We wouldn't
there's
have it any
something
other
wrong
way.
with the system, and we're just fine. That's what it is. Dan, you're supposed to see to that. You're nearly omniscient. I mean, you're not omnipotent, but you're omniscient. You usually know what's going on.
I'd really like to swap occasionally.
Swap what?
Omniscience for omnipotence.
I really don't care about what's going on, but sometimes I'd really like to be all powerful. Just a few minutes a year, you know.
Dan, just leave yourself a note. That's the trick. You gotta, when you switch power sets, leave yourself a note in super simple English. Because the last thing you want to be is a Commodore 64 plugged into a T3 line, you know, getting the information of the cosmos downloaded to your third eye. That is not something you want to do.
Hey, with me, it'd be more like a Coco 3 with a 5 1/4 floppy drive plugged into the card reader slot, which I actually have one of those out in the barn.
I wish I had a
Seriously,
5 1/4 floppy. At best, it's 3.5 hard.
My Coco plugged into a data cassette drive.
I started off with that, but
I couldn't afford the fancy 5.5-inch floppy because I wanted to get
I wisely
that was out,
invested
Oregon Trail.
I wisely invested a bonus check from work and got the 5 1/4-inch disk drive to go into the cartridge slot.
There, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
Thanks, Rich.
Rich, why are you holding?
I have often wondered if I took one of these
Because I
1
don't
terabyte.
have lighting under my shelf of my desk.
I've often wondered if I took one of these 1 terabyte hard drives that I've got. Is it possible to rig the second bay of the 5 1/4 disk drive for the Coco 3 to where it would actually read a modern disk drive, hard drive? Because, as simple as a Coco 3 was, I mean, it was basically a toy. And I did some non-toyish things with it and boosted it as far as it would go.
Unlike Dawn. Anyway, who takes things that are... Well, no, you two are alike. She takes toys and uses them for non-toyish things. Going on.
He wasn't in the green room when when Michaela got presented with her birthday present from me, was he?
I was.
Yes, I was.
No,
Yes.
Nick wasn't, was he?
Nick was.
That's why I make the remark. I know whereof I speak.
He wasn't there when the original comment was there, but he came in within like 10 minutes.
Oh, so we were still discussing it.
Yeah.
Well, if you are in the chat is eternal. It is recorded, unlike the live camera footage in the green room. So anything you mention in chat shows up in Messenger.
I'm aware of this.
Yeah.
I know whereof I walk.
The nice thing is that each different green room has its own Messenger channel.
Yeah.
Which is fun to go back through when you're bored.
Tell me about it. Oh, speaking of going
really
back
tired.
through when you were bored, I was looking for recipes to send to somebody in England and went through my manuscript for Midnight on the Tractor of Introspection, which is basically my autobiography. But it's just everything I remember from my childhood, plus anecdotes, plus story fragments that I came up with and have since sent to the word processor for
I gotta
big
know,
files.
Dan. I gotta ask, how beautiful were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? Because I've always wondered about that.
They had a lot of problems with the water pumps. Believe me,
That makes sense.
plumbing was really an issue, and if there was a drought, you had to go with the cacti, but it was still pretty, but spiky, and that made Romance Among the Roses a little bit more difficult. But
Romance Among the Roses is always difficult. Good Lord, people forget about the thorns. But
well, I mean, when the thorns are a foot long.
Yes, the great hanging pricks of
that gave me a
Babylon.
complex.
The entire garden was replaced with cacti.
Only in a drought year.
You okay there, Richie? I'm just talking about historical fact. Wherever you put, things.
No, I think Richie heard my comment.
Oh, I didn't. I'm half deaf right now.
Well, there's that, and I was also thinking, it's also before all the good hybrids of hemp were were around. So, you know,
No. India had those. Believe me, way back when.
no, I mean like the really good synthetic weird crap that
Oh,
people make now.
okay. Well, yeah, the U.S. government issue crap is much better than anything anybody can grow because they've been working on breeding that particular plant. Well, they started with George Washington's personal uh, rope garden, um, but he always had the requirement that they should separate the male from the female plants, which is weird if you're just growing hemp to make ropes, but it makes sense in other contexts.
Fun story time. I have never intentionally imbibed or sought out anything.
Mm,
I say it like that because there are some questions of accidental exposure
yes, have
to
you
it.
ever been to a concert in the 70s?
No. You see, a couple of my wife's friends and people I knew, uh, they got married, and they went to the back of one of their relatives' homes, which is this beautiful, beautiful countryside, big house, and they built a bonfire, and they were burning off all the weeds that were growing, and they threw the old lumber, and then as the party proceeded, they realized it was an old hemp farm. And the only reason they noticed is I had one eye dilated and one eye constricted. And they're like, good Lord, what's Nick been drinking? I'm like, Mountain Dew out of a can, and none of y'all have gotten near it. But I'm not driving. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure not driving home. I can't see straight. So
I'm remembering Jim Stafford at this moment. So
all right, it's the opposite of Jim Croce trying to get right on an ounce of oregano, but
no,
hello.
Hey, Gary.
Jim Stafford wrote an anthem in praise of the wildwood weed, and part of it when they first discovered the plant growing wild on the farm, his brother reached down for a weed to chew on like we hayseeds will do, and wound up naked and singing on the windmill at 6 o'clock the next morning. And his brother said he flew up there, and Jim said, well, I had to fly up and get him down. He's about half crazy.
That's one thing. In here in Illinois, it's legal, and I
Yes.
have my card.
Well, I will say, and this is,
fascinating because it's legal in Illinois and it's legal in Michigan, but it is highly, highly illegal in Indiana still. So some poor chap went up to get a shipment recently from Michigan, and he had assorted paraphernalia stickers on the back of his car, which was enough
not a
to
good
make
move.
the Indiana State Police have interest in this gentleman. It sounds like he literally was stocking his dispensary and forgot. Poor guy's going to jail forever on an absolute, granted,
On
he
a
had like
trivial
6
charge,
metric,
yeah.
The cop stops him and he has a box, the standard moving box with a printed label that says, what was it? High THC edibles.
Mm-hmm.
And something like 4 pounds or 40 pounds. It was just His whole car was rigged, and he was just going to take the highway. That was enough to drive off poor Dan.
I'm sorry. 4
Pun
pounds is
intended.
only a four.
You had to take the
4 pounds is
highway?
only a 4-month supply for one person. Don't ask. Well, go ahead. Ask me how I know.
How
I
do you
went
know?
to college. I went to college in the 70s.
Yeah, but you needed a lot more in the 70s to get you where you are when you can get now with the stuff they have now.
Nah, ounce a week was all it ever took.
And
Now it'll take
allegedly,
you like a half.
just a little corner of an edible will have you flying for a couple of days.
Yeah, I've never. I remember when somebody invented brownies, and it turns out that the chemistry is heat activated, so actually baking it into something made it much stronger. There was actually an episode of Barney Miller that kind of one
You
of the
have to decarb it.
linchpins of the plot was someone had delivered a a tray of brownies to the station, and all of the officers went
I
through
remember
a whole
that
pot of
episode.
coffee there, and with the assorted snacks as well, and the aftermath. That was right about the time that they introduced the character of Inspector Luger, narcotics, and Abe Vigoda, his character. Inspector Luger picked up a bottle of pills off of Detective Fish's desk and goes, I'm Inspector Luger, narcotics. And Abe Vigoda reached over, took the bottle of pills away, and said, Sergeant Fish, diuretics.
Piss on you. No.
Yeah, really. But
Don't do that. He'll hold up a cup. Anyway,
they
Oh,
evidently they had chased some perpetrator up a flight of steps through a brownstone building, and he was trying to escape by jumping from one building to the next across an alleyway. And Fish, at an age a little bit senior to me, was jumping across the gap like he was Spider-Man. And they actually caught up with the guy, and the perp was complaining because there was no way that these cops, ordinary cops that were supposed to subsist on donuts and coffee, could have caught up with his young self. And Barney had to tell Fish that, somebody gave us some uh, hash brownies, and that's the fuel you've been running off of here all day, and I think you need to take the day off and just kind of get it out of your system. And Fish was just so disappointed, and then Barney says, you know, might be a good time to rekindle the flames with your wife. And Fish goes, never occurred to him before, but one of the side effects of that was increased desire.
Libido.
Yes. Those, and here I am, 65 years old, remembering a show from what, the 70s,
yeah,
early 80s at the best,
yeah.
and I remember the
Both, yeah.
details of plots.
Because
Seriously.
it had to do with
No, I remember the details of Star Trek, classic Trek. I remember the
see,
details of Lost in Space.
Barney Miller
It's
was one of
just,
the most progressive shows on TV at the time.
oh yeah, they had
It was a
one of the
very
best.
progressive show.
They had one of the best gay represented pair of characters. The couple, I can't remember their name right now. Their names. But it went from being some flamboyant joke when the first character was introduced to being something really respectable and um, all the
Yeah,
people
because
on
one
all
of
the
them was a
detectives were
pickpocket.
going, yeah, it was really a good.
Do you ever get the feeling that maybe we were moving forward much faster than certain, like, I'm gonna sound paranoid, but like it seemed like we were really moving forward in understanding and trying to be better people, and then somewhere around the mid 80s, like, the brakes got hammered down
Mm, I,
in
we
media.
we were being progressive in a subversive sort of way, and then disco came along, and the recreational substance of choice was something that is actually harmful.
It's white and it looks a lot like something that Johnson and Johnson puts in those containers
Mhm.
that when you go poof, they go poof.
The Peruvian marching powder, yes,
I'm
and that
dreaming of a
that
wax.
that has been
I'm still here.
villainized, and into my mind, because it is psychologically and physically destructive, deservedly so. Although there are
Say
people that would
hello
argue
to
with
my
me.
little friend.
Didn't I shack up with her for about 2 months back in the 90s?
Oh, she's been on vacation since the holidays. She really has been taking it quite easy, and she likes her hat. So I'm gonna
I have that effect on women.
Making women.
Oh,
Never mind.
folks, I'm gonna hop off.
Dad
Have
helps
a
Not
you
good
like
night
the
here.
and knock
So
boots
green.
with Lydia. Good lord. Well, you know what? What my employees do on their time off, I don't worry about.
I will see you guys. Some of you tomorrow on NTF, some on Humor Group, some on Fencing Guild, some on all
See you
three.
later today.
Someone,
I'm on the
all
green
of the
room.
above.
Take care.
Good night,
Mhm.
Joe.
And I'll
Depends.
try and sign into NTF and just freak you out again, Nick.
Challenge
Okay.
accepted.
Wait, you were going to be one of the girls?
No.
So
There are
I-
cheerleaders.
I'm setting up for the green room. Right?
no, you're setting up for Historical Fencing Guild.
Well, no, the green room for the I was actually the literal green room in the back end of one of my shows. And I'm not paying attention, and I turn it on, and I'm checking all my stuff, and I look, and he's got the Matrix background going, and his face has just starts to like melt out because it lagged a little bit. So it wasn't, yeah. He does this while I'm still waking up, and it's just like God dang it, Joseph. And I jumped. I mean, I turned because it was just that. And he's laughing his butt off at me because this is comedy. You know, there are a few things funnier than making your resident swordmaster, jump out of this incarnation for a moment. But
I plead the fifth, and good night, folks.
Good night,
Good,
Joe.
n-
Good night.
good night.
Yeah, I got
Now we've already run 2 hours. I tell you what, I'll run the bedtime story. We'll bring the show to a close. Anybody that wants to stick around for the after show, which we don't usually have, but I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so we can. We will do that with your acquiescence.
which
Well,
will
I'm
be
gonna head to bed myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good night.
Have fun on your way.
I gotta work.
Good
Nope.
night. I know
Good
Dan's
night.
all sad now. See, Dan, if you would have told me this, I would have prepped for it.
It's all right. I mean, seriously, me and Carrie will talk till 6 a.m. like
Yeah.
It's one of those things that happens.
Carrie, keep him in line.
We're in the middle of the road. And people on the
gonna
train inside
happen.
might have any idea what the hell's going on.
Well, I'll probably see most of you guys tomorrow, probably the furthermore, and who knows, along the day, and then end in the green room. And I'm sure that Nick will end up in the green room if he's not talking guild until 6 a.m. again.
Well, that happens to me sometimes. You guys have a lovely habit of keeping me going, and that's like, well, are you going to stop? Well, shoot.
You're the Energizer cryptid.
I have to say, I do have to say it was funny when I kind of just flipped over to see when I was scrolling through Facebook, and you were talking about chest sizes of women and how it affects how they're. That happened to be just when I was scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, they're having a better conversation over here than we are in the green room.
What's scary is a lot of times we actually do. I'm not being facetious. We actually, on the Historical Fencing Guild, we get into conversations, and because I try to limit things, people have to be clever about what they say, because that is my serious channel. I'm there to try to help and elevate people far more than my namesake channel, where I'm having a little bit more fun. Like, I have a sliding scale ranked by my shows. I try to take the Historical Fencing Guild remarkably serious, because that's like my job. That's where I help people. I take Nevermind the furthermore serious because I'm carrying Brian K. Morris's legacy, and I wouldn't dare mess with that. But you catch me on an art time with Nick, and Lord knows what's going to happen. And heaven help me on some of the days where I'm on Luke's on Nerd Bacon, and I'm tired and I'm cranky, and somebody has been too stupid for my tolerance to allow. Honest Nick manifests, and then we have fun.
But I will say this. I have a feeling the green room is going to be much better tomorrow night than it has been the previous couple weeks.
I think it's going to be the Michaela room tomorrow night.
I've borne witness to Nick give the talk about breast size and ability. Yeah.
Well, it matters in armor design. It really does.
It does. But it was just funny to see.
You have to be clinical about these things.
Well, it matters in your ability to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
right.
I was a very skinny guy when I first started fencing. And though I have a dad bod now, I actually had this thing for the first time in my life called a chest. From splitting wood for money and fencing for fun, I developed this thing called the chest, which I'd never had before. And suddenly my fourth position parries just weren't there. Like, I kept getting killed, and I finally went, what's going on? No. This is not pervy.
You were splitting wood.
People don't need to be so prudish. And I'm sitting there going, well, shoot. How many women have I worked with where we've had to talk about adjusting this because of obstacles?
Right.
You know? I've had some who wanted to learn they wanted to learn archery.
Ooh.
And I had to explain to them, because how do I put this?
Bowstrings can hurt.
Well, what it was short person with slightly abnormally short arms. And this was before reduction surgery. So she got to learn crossbow first. Because we checked like no amount of, well, wear an extra support over your support. The girls would not be denied by modern physics. So unless you could get like a TARDIS binder,
it would not be gauged.
We're in another dimension,
You would have to have some kind of uniboob going on the other side of her chest.
Basically, the legendary Amazon solution, yes.
So,
yes.
But I was just giving. Come on, Nick. You don't mean well enough to know that I'm just gonna.
Yes. Well, and part of you'll learn that part of my shtick is this almost hyper literal that comes out of nowhere, where it's like, no, this is a it's not shtick, it's just how I operate. This is a mechanical problem, and as soon as I hit a mechanical problem, like I don't want to say I go autistic, but they're still trying to figure. There aren't. It's like everything else turns off. Like this is a mechanical problem. We have to deal with this.
So Tuesday, I went to get
So anyways,
for meds, and so I had to turn in this ADD questionnaire.
saw that.
So I had to remake it because it was a copy of 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 a copy.
Of a copy.
So it just made me twitch. So I literally had to rebuild it, and I handed him a clean version. I handed him mine, and he's like, "Oh my, oh no, no." Still hasn't called in the meds yet because he's waiting on an EKG to find out whether he's going to put me on speed or put me on the one that helps with depression.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a win-win.
Yep.
It helps me lose weight, or it helps me not be depressed.
See, I heard that, and a lot of people have been talking about the questionnaire. And I was talking to my doctor about something else, and I mentioned, I'm having some trouble because of my nerve med pain. I can't have stimulants anymore. They turn off stimulants, deactivate what makes my neuropathy pills.
Okay, good night.
Night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Run, or else we'll get you. But so I quit having caffeine, and I'm going. I can barely string two sentences together anymore. I mean, I used to run, people's lives. I was an in-home provider. I've worked multiple jobs at the same time and managed kids. And she goes, "Well, you're obviously ADD. I thought you'd been managing it."
With sufficient coffee, yes, you can.
And it was the whole what? So I never had a questionnaire. She just went, "No, you're so textbook. You walk in the room," and I knew you had ADD. I thought you did. Blink, blink.
Yeah, really.
Okay, that's nice to know. But again, I'm the same guy who made it all the way to college, and only after failing algebra the 6th time did they go, "Did I have a really good professor?" And goes, "So, how long have you been dyslexic?"
And never knew you were.
And never knew I was. I'm like, stuff floats around. It's always been normal for me for numbers to transpose themselves, but
Mm-hmm. I'm very familiar with this phenomenon.
Have been very intimate with me. I should have been charging them.
And what do I do for fun now? Excel spreadsheets and algebra.
And right.
I make RPGs around, applied statistics.
All right, folks. Hang around. Those that are going to, those that aren't. We'll see you in a later venue.
Talk to you guys later.
Good night.
Good night. Sleep time.
Oh, son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
We're still live.
Transmission overload. System will shut down.
And you're muted.
So, where's bedtime story?
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.